Hi everyone, we are Ingrain from the Wren School of Environmental Science and Management at UC Santa Barbara. Our program focuses on identifying market opportunities that solve customer problems while also solving environmental ones. So we started to focus on the craft beer industry because we thought it was a really interesting nexus of industry, customer product, and agriculture. Today we'd like to bring you along with us on a journey, and it's been a journey towards this product that we think really tells a story to craft beer customers. So, the craft beer industry has boomed in the last decade. It now consists of 20% of overall beer-related revenues in the US, that's $20 billion, and hundreds of new facilities are added every year.
Through our initial customer discovery process, one thing that we learned to be universally true is that breweries produce a lot of spent grain through the beer production process. What spent grain is what's left over from the malted barley after the fermentable sugars have been extracted through the beer brewing process. The volumes that we're talking about are actually pretty substantial. For a Lagunitas Brewing Company, they produce 4.4 million pounds of it every month. It can be a real headache for them because it's heavy, it's wet, and it spoils quickly, so they need to have a reliable outlet for its disposal, otherwise if it backs up, they can shut down their operations. So what breweries usually do is they'll partner with a local farmer who agrees to come pick up the spent grain and provide a reliable outlet, and then they feed that spent grain to their livestock.
So spent grain is high in fiber and it's high in protein, which makes it a perfect supplement for livestock feed. And the arrangement between farmers and brewers is well established, but it's not perfect. When we spoke to breweries, we learned that a lot of them don't have a consistent, timely option for disposal of this product, and we thought that there was room for improvement. When we learned about the nutritional properties of spent grain, we immediately thought to connect this food waste product to the ever-growing market of highly nutritious foodstuffs for human consumption. So we sought to validate this by interviewing with breweries who would be acting as our suppliers, as well as the consumers who would eventually be eating these products. The concept was met with a lot of enthusiasm, but as we started to develop, a lot of red flags started coming up in our business model. So initially with breweries, we found that they go with the quickest, most reliable option for a reason. It's something they don't want to deal with at all. And so if we were offering to just take a little bit at a time as we develop our business, that wouldn't be an attractive offer for them. Next, we talked to bakers who are really excited about the story and the concept behind it, but they mentioned the amounts that they would actually be using in proportion in their products, and it was never going to be enough to actually move all the product we would be responsible for selling. And lastly, we learned that consumers are extremely fickle in a lot of our surveys, and really trying to push a B2C product at this time would be a lot to take on.
So once we figured out that a consumer food product wouldn't be a viable business model for us, we went and looked at other ways to use this key resource into other value-added products. And the first one that we turned to was looking at ways to make the current market of using this as livestock feed more efficient by drying the grain at the brewery to extend its shelf life and make it easier to transport. What we figured out is that the equipment and the cost of drying the spent grain would be cost prohibitive for us. It would erode any value that we could add to the product, and the environmental benefits just weren't there. So next we looked at using the leftover sugars that are still in the spent grain as a basis for creating PLA plastics and other biomaterials, or as an input for biogas production. But we ran into similar problems where the capital costs and the current technology would make it really hard for us to be price competitive for the current market alternatives. But through this process, we did learn that spent grain there's a lot of great properties to it that would make a good basis for biomaterial production.
So we began exploring cellulosic biomaterial production, and it got us thinking, what if we could use spent grain to make branded brewery products that they might actually be interested in buying? So material scientists have been experimenting using cellulose as an input for high performance materials used to make anything from surfboards to sunglasses to furniture. And so we returned to these breweries and we painted them this picture of tap rooms that are filled with spent grain produced bar stools and sunglasses, branded sunglasses, and none of them were interested. And so we really got to thinking, what is it that breweries actually care about besides just making beer? And the answer to that is they care about marketing their brands. We were hearing through a lot of our customer interviews that breweries relied heavily on their product packaging and marketing materials. And they also love talking about the closed loop concept. It's one of their favorite concepts, but they really struggle to connect that with consumers in a meaningful way. So we thought, what if we were able to close the loop using an industry waste product, spent grain, and using it as an input to produce paperboard and packaging marketing materials that these craft breweries are already purchasing. This would not only connect this brewing production process with their marketing strategies, but it would also connect their end consumers with the brewing process in general. So we decided that Ingrain products could provide the craft beer consumer with a tactile connection to the brewing process in a way no other material really can. It goes beyond just sustainable packaging. It provides a marketing medium that embodies the innovative spirit and the authenticity of the craft beer industry. And that was something that breweries were actually interested in hearing about.
So what are we really offering our customers? Given the growth in the craft beer industry, packaging is increasingly vital to sales. There's widespread recognition within the industry that they've reached a turning point. For instance, the president of Dogfish Head recently was quoted as saying, "We're heading into an incredibly competitive era of craft brewing. There's a bloodbath coming." One of our survey respondents shared a similar sentiment. There's always an opportunity to improve how we market our beers and present our brands. Simply making a good craft beer isn't enough. Breweries need to have a way to convey their story to a clientele that really cares about how their products are made.
So given their express need to cultivate brand value in this extremely competitive marketplace, we were really curious about breweries' current production and marketing strategies. We knew anecdotally that the craft movement embraces a more sustainable ethos, but we sought to confirm this through a targeted survey of craft breweries. 84% of our respondents weigh sustainability as an important factor in their decision making, and of those 84%, 87 say sustainability is a core company value or a combination of company and customer values. Now, despite this commitment, we discovered that breweries are leaning really heavily on their in-house taproom tours to educate their customers about their green decision making. And this is a method that really only reaches a handful of customers at a time. In fact, less than 16% of them said that they have ever mentioned their sustainability initiatives on any of their packaging or advertisements. So we selected our minimum viable product based on our survey feedback as well. 81% of respondents use coasters for the stated purpose of marketing, and 6-packs are the most common form of consumer-facing paperboard packaging used in the craft beer industry today. We sought to gain a better view of the current pricing structure of these products. We discovered that over 50% of our craft breweries are paying more than 50 cents per 6-pack carrier, and 35% are paying 11 cents or more per coaster. And this signaled to us that there was a lot of room for negotiation as far as price, but for now we decided to use industry average prices as a baseline for testing, and those averages are 50 cents per 6-pack carrier and 7 cents per coaster.
So to quantify the size of the market, we reached out to an economist at the U.S. Brewers Association, as well as an executive at a major coaster manufacturer in the U.S. Through these conversations, we learned that the craft beer industry as a whole demands 276 million 6-pack carriers per year and just about 200 million coasters each and every year. So when you apply the average prices that we determined through our market survey, this means that the total size of the market is, with both these products combined, about $152 million per year. But if you're going to drill down a little bit further and just look at the 3,200 craft breweries which care about sustainability based on our survey results, the size of the market is actually $127 million per year.
So we knew that building an actual prototype was vital to gauging real interest in our product, and we knew that it needed to meet 2 criteria. First, strength and flexibility requirements in terms of packaging and promotionals, and secondly, it needed to actually quantitatively decrease the environmental footprint associated with status quo paperboard production. So to do this, we worked with the Forest Products Laboratory in Madison, Wisconsin to use their press drying equipment, and worked with various combinations to produce a set of boards that do meet the kind of flexibility and strength requirements we need for packaging. In addition, it reduces the energy, the water, and the virgin wood inputs required for this process. Since returning from Madison, we have tested laser cutting as well as black and white printing and color on the material with considerable success.
So to figure out how much it's going to cost for us to produce this material at a commercial scale, we reached out to a similar company that's producing high-grade building materials through a similar production process. They were kind enough to provide us with some data points on their capital costs and the individual unit prices for their power, their water, and the cost of recycled fiber that they're using for their products. We then went back to the Forest Products Laboratory that we were working with before, and we worked with them to back out some of the costs that this other facility has that we won't have, and add in some costs that we will have for design and finishing that they don't have. We arrived at a per unit cost for our 6-pack carriers of 27 cents each, and for our coasters of 3 cents each. And so when we brought our products to A couple of our target customers, we've got a really positive response. Any questions?
You have to help me out. What is it that your company does? Are you selling? You're not selling beer. I got that part.
So we're making these 6-pack carriers and the coasters, which are made out of the spent grain that is used in the beer brewing process. So it connects the customers. Yeah, we made those. So it connects the consumer with the beer production process in a whole nother level, and it helps their products stand out from the crowd.
Yeah, but you know, people, I don't drink beer, but people who do are telling me they buy it for taste, not for the label.
Yeah, so we actually have a really fantastic statistic about that. A lot of people think that they're buying it for taste and not the label, but the average craft beer consumer spends 4.5 minutes just looking at packaging labels, deciding what they want, as opposed to 30 seconds for a commercial beer drinker. And what is it?
They change their mind 64% of the time in the store aisle on what they intend to purchase.
Mm-hmm. And that's with 75% of them saying they knew what they were going to buy when they went into the store.
So packaging is really effective, and it's something that craft breweries really focus on as a main marketing tool for them. So we tap into this with our products as a way of differentiating the craft brewery from their competitors in the store shelves.
What happens to this afterwards? How do you recycle?
It can be recycled or composted the same way you would any paperboard material.
So I'm confused with the numbers that you put up there. On one slide, you were talking about what the breweries are paying to put together 6-pack packaging, and on the other, you're talking about your cost of goods to produce them.
Right.
So I'd like to understand, you got to get to the same place, right? Are you saying that the actual cost is just simply going to be the same, so you're matching the industry, or are you able to generate a product cheaper than the cardboard product?
So we envision that our products will have a premium to them over the current paperboard alternatives. We haven't been able to quantify this yet, so we're working with the industry averages of what breweries are paying for current paperboard, traditional paperboard, 6-pack carriers, and coasters. And so the prices we have listed are based on the averages as a conservative estimate. But we do believe that once our products hit the market, that breweries will be willing to pay more for the additional marketing characteristics that we have that the other products don't.
So are you planning to manufacture it on your own?
Yeah, we're going to manufacture those.
So you'll be build a factory?
Yeah. We're going to work with
next
contract
to
manufacturer.
one brewery, or how you'll be supplying around the country? I mean,
Yeah.
You can answer.
So we intend to partner with either one large brewery or locate ourselves in a region where there are several medium to large scale breweries that can provide us with the spent grain that we need as an input to produce this material at a high commercial scale.
so you have to take all material from all over the country, bring them in one manufacturing facility, and then make packaging and ship them back to yours?
No, so that's a good question. We were originally looking at doing just that, but the cost of transporting the grain would quickly erode any value that we could add. So we're going to partner with one brewery that produces a lot of spent grain, like Lagunitas, that produces 4.4 million pounds per month. They have a lot of spent grain, and they have a really hard time getting rid of it. And so we can go and just tap into this one brewery and get what we need as an input, rather than going to a bunch of individual breweries and trucking the spent grain across the country.
So they'll be buying material from you, right? After
Buying the end
manufacture.
material, yeah. Breweries will be buying the end material from us, and we'll get our spent grain from
Are
us.
they selling you raw material, or they're paying you to get rid of this?
You mean the brewery
Yeah,
partner?
yeah.
No, so it's the current relationship that most breweries have are with farmers, and there's no money generally that changes hands in those situations. And so we provide a service to this one brewery in collecting their spent grain, but we don't see ourselves as being a waste disposal company. We are the packaging company, so we offer them an outlet for their spent grain, but our value add and our product is the packaging itself.
So you've got the, and I didn't catch the name of the brewery, Lagunitas. So you've got them, they're your primary provider, you've got your factory next to them, close enough that you can get the stuff across to you. How do you get brewery 2, 3, 4, and 5?
Well, so we just work, our inputs are just based off the one brewery, but we're selling the material that we create with the spent grain to other breweries around the country, but that's after it's been processed into the packaging material.
Yeah, so we can make that clear. When we talk about a closed loop,
Yeah.
we found that a lot of our customers are satisfied with just the concept of an industry closed loop rather
Okay.
than their own spent grain.
So just from a paper standpoint, it's a cool feeling product, and I get the tie-in because it comes from a brewery to get to sell it back to a brewery. But have you explored where else you could sell this that you might actually generate even more revenue than a brewery?
Yeah, so if we were hoping to get to our final vision. That's a good one to end on. But it's our production process is highly adaptable to really any kind of material that has any cellulose composition to it. So, we could use things from coffee grounds to grape pomace to spent grains from distilleries and use that for, premium spirits packaging. We could make coffee cups, coffee coasters. We can make wine bottle labels. We can make gift boxes. We can make a lot
Book
of different
publishers.
packages. Yeah, no, I mean,
publishing
we could use.
So,
general
what would have helped if you started your presentation with saying that you're using spent resources to produce something.
Yeah.
And as an example, you can do it with wine, whatever, waste, coffee grounds, beer grain, whatever. And then when you start your technology company, when you start like you work with the beer industry, absolutely confusing. So if you concentrate on doing that, and now you have to explain though to me how your process works. What is it that you do? Do you have a technology behind it? Do you own it?
Is it patentable?
It's something we're exploring right now. Yeah, we're looking into patenting the process, but we need to look into
But
that.
whose technology is it?
Yeah, where's the technology?
So we went to the U.S. Forest Products Laboratory and we created these. This isn't something that's been done with spent grain in the past, and so we actually went to the Forest Products Laboratory and figured out the process to create these materials based on input that no one's really worked with in the past.
So the machinery it's created on is called a press dryer, which has been around forever. It's just we're using entirely new inputs and specialized the amount of pressure and the ratios for our material.
And there's a potential for certain proprietary processes in it, but we're still in the stages of investigating that.
Do you have a best guess on what your cost of goods is going to be compared to a comparable cardboard product, premium cardboard product?
Yeah, so we're looking about 27 cents each for the 6-pack carriers and 3 cents for the coasters.
Yep.
No, how to compare with existing?
What would the cardboard cost be
right.
of a 6-pack carrier?
So the cost for the production manufacturing facilities for paperboard is a closely held secret. We've reached out to several large-scale paperboard manufacturers, and they haven't been willing to provide that data to us. We know that we're cost competitive to the end consumer, to the breweries themselves, but for the cost of production, it's something it's data we haven't been able to get.
Yeah, but that would be the first step. You go and see what your competition is, and that's what your business is, right?
Right. So we
selling
believe
that.
that-
So you go and see what's being sold, right?
Right, and we believe we can compete on the customer level, so we can compete on the prices that customers are currently paying for the paperboard alternatives. But we don't know what the paperboard companies are paying to produce it, what they're actually
Oh, you have
costing.
not done that part of research yet.
Well, we just haven't been able to get it from these large-scale manufacturing facilities because it's closely held data for them.
The price of cardboard?
No, like their actual financial breakdown.
Like
It's
the
hard.
production costs.
I guess I'm just curious if you have 10 square feet of cardboard, how much that costs compared to 10 square feet of your product?
Well, it's one of the things that kind of goes into making that data actually surprisingly difficult to get is that the paper industry has a huge requirement of energy input. So where and virgin and the fluctuating costs of the commodity virgin wood pulp.
Yeah.
And so where they're located in the country, how vertically integrated that company is. That data changes so much. So unfortunately, it's not just in the U.S. the average cost of goods for making.
But have you
paper is
explored the
this.
companies that actually work with coffee grounds and grapes? Have you seen what they do?
That's the thing is there really aren't any companies that are using cellulosic, alternative cellulosic and food waste inputs to
You're
make
positive
packaging
about that?
material.
You've done that research.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's an Italian company who is a paper company, and sort of as a specialty line item, they have a line of organic papers, but it's very small production and it's really just for marketing purposes. And they're also using a traditional paper production, so they don't have the kinds of environmental improvements that our process has. So they're really sort of at the leading edge of what's happening right now.
I would personally started to find out if it's patentable, number one. If not, maybe it's any trade secrets or know-how that's difficult to duplicate. And then go from there, because it's like your key component. If it does not exist, everything else, even like it's cost efficient, it would be difficult.
Where did you produce this stuff?
At the Forest Products Laboratory in Madison, Wisconsin. That's where we produce the boards, and then we've worked with the print lab at UC Santa Barbara to do our printing and hand cut most everything.
The Forest Products Laboratory is a research arm of the USDA, so they aren't especially interested in patenting any kind of technology. They're government funded. They just do research, sort of
In-
fun of it, and
well,
they like collaborating
I was going to say,
with
in
private
fact,
industries. Yeah.
they do research for the purpose of giving it to private companies to then commercialize.
Thank you.